And we are live. What is up, ladies and gentlemen of YouTube? Cider Report back from my little mini vacation for another video. Joining me so far, as I've sent the invite out to a few people, is Jefferson Spatchcock. So yeah, so there's been an awful lot of stuff. It's the first topic that I have to talk about. We will still be talking about it. I was only saying this to Jeff backstage there before we were live. I kind of feel like most people have seen the speech that we're going to be reacting to. So, kind of like playing my initial plan was to play through the entire thing and then kind of, you know what I mean, have a conversation about it then. But I kind of think like most people have seen it by now. So it's kind of, I'm playing catch up on, the uh, news and politics and stuff like that. So we'll play like maybe like the first couple of minutes, maybe just to kind of refresh the memory, and then we're going to be going straight into reactions from the right, which have just been, oh boy, they've been something. Um, yeah, yeah. So yeah, look, without further ado, so it should be up on the screen there now. Yeah, this is the speech that we're going to be reacting to. I'm sure even probably just from this freeze frame, you're probably kind of, you know what I mean, the memory has been sufficiently jogged, but just in case it hasn't, we'll listen to the first couple of minutes of it anyway. All right, now just give me just 2 moments because I am not seeing the video audio being represented on OBS, which I think we can both agree would be terrible, and it would be terrible because they can only hear it from right now. So apologies for that, but look, I mean, then again, would it really be one of my streams if there wasn't some form of technical issues? Do you know what? I'm kind of annoyed at myself, and it's not even for any one particular reason. No, because I was so sure, like, starting this, I was kind of like, right, okay, have I set up to share audio to StreamYards? Yes, I have. Have I got everything prepared? Have I got everything in, like, separate tabs open, ready to go? Yes, I have. Have I got, like, what I thought was everything sorted? Yes, I have, but no, the fuck I haven't. So, there we go.
And I did check. I checked the feed. It wasn't coming through. So this almost seemed like we were kind of like passive aggressively.
Yeah, just kind of just. But look,
but like, here's the best part of the speech.
Yeah,
no, muted. Look at those red lights and the marine silhouettes in the background.
It's there anyway. We'll play it for another minute maybe, and then we'll talk about it.
But as I stand here tonight, equality and democracy are under assault. We do ourselves no favor to pretend otherwise. So tonight, I've come to this place where it all began to speak as plainly as I can to the nation about the threats we face, about the power we have in our own hands to meet these threats, and about the incredible future that lies in front of us if only we choose it. We must never forget, we the people are the true heirs of the American experiment that began more than 2 centuries ago. We, the people, have burning inside of each of us the flame of liberty that was lit here at Independence Hall. A flame that lit our way through abolition, the Civil War, suffrage, the Great Depression, world wars, civil rights. That sacred flame still burns. Now in our time, as we build an America that is more prosperous, free, and just. That is the work of my presidency, a mission I believe in with my whole soul.
Yeah, so look, I mean, by and large, it was a very, very, very good speech. Like I had tweeted about it at the time. I have seen that video, just by the way, because I know that I always say whether I have or haven't. Yeah. I have seen it. It was just a fantastic, fantastic speech. Yeah, and like it was very kind of pro democracy. It was very kind of, saying that there's an obvious danger when there was one quote from that speech that I tweeted out, like literally in quotes. It was like, we can't have a real democracy when one side of the aisle either won or they got cheated, which is fucking fantastic. Just what a fucking quote. It was something along those lines, and that wasn't exactly it, but just genuinely, what a fucking amazing line.
Yeah, and this speech was like almost 2 years too late, right? Like, because I mean, in it, as it goes on, he actually starts getting into kind of talking about some of the accomplishments that the administration has been able to make. And in some cases, some of them have been kind of quiet, right? And this is one of the things that I don't think people pay attention to enough when it comes time to like vote for a president. A lot of it is based on like who they're going to put in charge. Like, I was kind of a Bernie fan and was interested to see, like, if you get a Bernie presidency, I'm very curious to see the kind of people. I have an idea of the kind of people that he was going to put in charge of, the Department of Education, the Department of Treasury, this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But I was actually really genuinely pleased with a lot of the picks, not all of them, but with a lot of the picks that Biden made once he got in. And the Department of Education is one example of it. They've been consistently, since they've gotten in, rolling back some of the damage that's been going on for like the last 20, 30 years in student and higher education, financing, debt, the whole thing. I mean, DeVos under Trump kind of represented like the worst of it, kind of hit a fever pitch. And then you got this, I can't remember his name, but the new guy that's in there is something of a reformer, and it's getting better. It's like, this is good. There's progress being made here. So they kind of started highlighting some of this stuff, and a lot of the stuff has kind of slid under the radar. And I think part of that has to do with the fact that, like, I mean the Trump scandals still end up dominating news cycles every time, something new splashes. But
yeah, well, look, again, it's because I've been out of it, and it's because I'm somewhat kind of playing catch up. Obviously, this speech was about 2 weeks old, I think. There's been a lot of stuff, like Trump was doing a rally. I don't know what state it was in. But he made some let me say wacky comments. Now, I know that that's not exactly a high bar when it comes to Trump, but he said that weirdo Mark Zuckerberg was talking to me in the White House last week. He made this speech at a rally a couple of weeks ago.
And he said Zuckerberg was talking to him in the White House last week.
In the White House last week. This cunt still thinks he's president. Like, I'm sorry, that's a little bit, like, people should be fucking concerned about that. It's like, nah, mate, you're not the president no more. You were, but you're not now. Like, you need to calm it down.
For some of the more conspiracy-minded ones, yeah, he's talking from the secret behind the curtain presidential bunker marked with a big black Q.
Yeah, but
so yeah, he's still in the White House, but yeah, he's down in the basement.
It's just like I don't know. From that to like demanding like a do-over of the 2020 election, which there is absolutely no precedent for. Not just that there's no like, it's not just that, you know, the left is suppressing the evidence that there was like widespread voter fraud or voter interference or whatever else, and that Trump is the like rightful winner of the last election. It's not just that there's no evidence there, because again, there's been 60 court cases and all but 2 of them were thrown out just on the basis that there's no fucking evidence for them. But
Right.
look, the point is, this guy, like, there is no precedent in U.S. law that says that for any fucking reason that there would be a do-over in an election that's already been called. Biden's been the president now for like what, 18 months, give or take.
Yeah.
So
Yep.
there is no fucking precedent for this. Like, shut up, dude. But yes, Beck, I am so happy to see you in the chat. I can only imagine that Beck is going to have quite a lot to say when we move on to the Matt Walsh on Dr. Phil's section of the stream. Yeah. I can only imagine you're going to have some stuff to say there.
And I was hoping I'd have time to preview that a little bit, but
look,
I didn't
if you do, it's Matt Walsh being transphobic. There's been some clips of it that have been kind of going around between Twitter, between TikTok. I had stitched and reacted to one that he did, or a clip of it on TikTok. But yeah, I had failed to find the video in its entirety. Like the entire interaction that was there. Up until literally I was on YouTube less than an hour ago, and I found it and I was like, fuck, right, okay, that's the stream segment, so let's go for it. But yeah, look, main point of course is that it's just going to be your bog standard Matt Walsh content. It's going to be whatever. Anyway, onto the conservative reaction to said speech, which there was genuinely, and I say this from like my leftist perspective as a socialist, there was nothing wrong with that speech. There was a couple of things that I personally would have taken out, but it was the whole kind of like almost nationalist some talking points that he had thrown in there. But again, having like, that was my initial reaction to it, but having kind of thought about it for even a couple of minutes, he's the president of the United States. He kind of, there's somewhat kind of has to, in some ways, be a little bit nationalist when he's talking to the entire nation. You know, it's kind of seen as presidential, or it looks good from that context. So
exactly.
But yeah, anyway, look, other than that, I could not fault it. It was a very rare gaffe-free speech. So yeah, no, like it was just absolutely fantastic. Obviously, whoever his fucking like his presidential aides in the background about 5 minutes before, they just upped his dosage of Adderall or something. I don't fucking know. But yeah, it was ludicrously gaff-free. Very, very, very good speech. But not everybody thought so. There was. I've just picked just this one.
It's not Shapiro's take, is it?
No, it's not Shapiro's take. Former GOP governors warning for Biden, apparently. But yeah, we'll see.
So, Governor Kasich, what do you make of those forceful remarks from the president aimed squarely at members of your party?
Well, I think it's, you know, issues are fair game, Pamela, and, you know, he's out there talking about guns, and he's talking about January 6th. I think it's all legitimate, and the rhetoric is going to get hotter and hotter as we get closer to the election. But I'm told that it was reported as comparing these MAGA Republicans to, I think, calling them like semi-fascist, okay? That's not what we want out of Joe Biden. That's the kind of stuff you hear out of Donald Trump. So you can be heated, but just be careful you don't
Wait a
go
minute.
over the line.
Wait. Okay.
Okay, this is not the type of video I thought of. I'm really, really sorry because I was somewhat unprepared in having a lot of the reactions to it. This is not the fucking reaction that I thought it was going to be.
Oh, really?
But
I thought it was pretty. I think that's funny. He's like, well, this is the kind of stuff that we expect to hear from. Like, look, calling your opponents, identifying your opponents for what they are is not. I agree. Like, you wouldn't want to hear Biden refer to Trump as a communist menace. I agree. You wouldn't want to hear him call him that because that would be a complete mischaracterization of Trump, any of his fans, the movement, anything close to an ideology, right? It's completely off base. That's exactly what, so yeah, and Trump does that kind of stuff. But saying like this guy is a fascist and this is borderline fascism, like look at what the entire MAGA movement is about. It's about strengthening the country from within by eliminating and rooting out its weaknesses.
yeah,
It doesn't get much more fascist than that. That appeal to purity, that appeal to, well, if we just line things up the way they're supposed to be, and we get rid of these quote unquote elements, you know what we're talking about. The bad seeds, the bad apples, we get rid of them. Everything else will just hum along perfectly.
yeah.
It's like, yeah, that's magical thinking. That doesn't work, and that usually snowballs into something fucking terrible. The weird thing is that for the more trollish, the more rabid of the MAGA base, they know that and embrace it and make jokes about it. They'll talk about like the people that they're going to throw in front of firing squads or take for helicopter rides and shit. It's like they know that they want they want the end stage fascism to happen. They want to control the state and then take the state to a point where it is using nothing but violence on its political enemies, to a point where the only means of resistance is some kind of radical violent reaction from the other side. Like they want, these guys crave civil war, and they're fucking crazy. So and that's like the the more intense. That's not every MAGA weirdo, but pretty damn close.
Yeah, definitely fucking pretty damn close. Yeah, look, okay, so we're not going to play the rest of it or whatever else, but a lot of people who are reacting to this in a much more kind of negative way than what he was. A lot of people were talking about the fact that there's red lights in the background, and that was him. That was a symbol of Joe Biden stepping into communism, because of course the color for communism is red. But you see, there's just a there's just one problem, and it's also a beautiful piece of irony. If that shot was to be widened just a little bit, if that was just you know what I mean, if you sort of imagine it going like from 4:3 to 16:9, like that aspect ratio, if it was to go into widescreen, the colors next to red would have been blue, and the colors next to blue would have been white, because it was meant to symbolize the American flag as colors in the background, but yet it was a step into communism. Doesn't quite add up there, does it?
And this is one of those things, like, I believe this was done live, and this was done outdoors. So when you shoot stuff like this outdoors, you can only get the lighting just right, for so, I mean, you're only going to be able to get it, I mean, consider the audio issues they have.
Yeah.
Like about 2/3, not even 2/3, maybe 1/3 of the way, you can start hearing people heckling at the point that we stopped. And it comes in waves throughout his speech. You can hear people blowing air horns and saying, chanting, "Let's go, Brandon," and stuff like that. Which I would have thought, with the rise of the Dark Brandon meme, the "Let's go, Brandon" thing, they would have stomped on the brakes on that one.
It would have kind of died down. I thought it would have kind of died down a little bit by now, but well, hey,
Nope.
that's what they're doing. So leave him at it. No, like I love the fact that the left has kind of like fully embraced this whole kind of dark Brandon meme. Like, I think it's fucking fantastic. Like, I genuinely do. Look, like, obviously Biden was not my first choice. I don't think he's doing a brilliant job as president. I think he's doing better than Trump, but then again, that wasn't exactly a high bar. I also think, however, that he's doing better than Obama. So, that's a little kind of point of comparison there. But yeah, look, basically the point here, like, I love the whole kind of dark Brandon thing. I love the fact that they've kind of the left has kind of taken what was initially an attack on Biden as the fuck Joe, or what was it? What was the original chant?
Yeah, I think it was at NASCAR. It was "fuck Joe Biden," and somebody thought it was
Yeah, fuck Joe Biden, but it was "let's go Brandon." Yeah, sorry, yeah. That they've like kind of taken the whole Brandon meme and like kind of just embraced it and been like, yeah, no, fuck it. Like, it's not Joe Biden, it's Dark Brandon, because like he's going out there and he's fucking. I absolutely love it. I think it's just fantastic. But yeah, like it just Jesus fucking Christ. But like then there was obviously, your kind of your stereotypical reactions to it of people going like a little bit crazy and kind of saying like, oh no, that like it was an attack on me, and he's saying that I was an enemy of the state. And it's like, well, if you don't believe in democracy in a country that, yes, okay, I know you call yourselves a republic, but you elect people through a democratic process. If you do not believe in the process of democracy, you're kind of a fucking enemy of the way that that America is running right now. And
if you believe that the appropriate means to deal with that is to attempt a violent overthrow, of the Congress and Senate while they're ratifying votes, like, that kind of makes you're leaning into that enemy of the state territory. Now, if you're actually there, willing to beat a cop to death with a fire extinguisher, you are a fucking terrorist and an enemy of the state. So.
Absolutely. I saw it was being tweeted out on 9/11 this year, where it was like 9/11 was a terrorist attack and January 6th was a terrorist attack. It absolutely fucking like terrorism is like it's defined kind of not differently, but there's aspects to what can be considered terrorism. So it can be an attack from a foreign country, or it can be attack that is motivated purely by politics. And the attack on January 6th was 100% that. It was an attack on the Capitol that was motivated by politics. That is the definition of terrorism. You may not like it. I could fucking see it from your point of view. I wouldn't like to be fucking called a terrorist. It's a mean and nasty word. It doesn't, it doesn't, it's not nice to be called that, but hey, it's...
Americans, no American wants to be Cobra. They want to be G.I. Joe. Yeah. But it's like, sorry, what you guys were doing was basically low-rent Cobra bullshit.
Kind of.
In fact, I think there was an episode... There was a G.I. Joe cartoon where Cobra did something like that in DC. So.
Yeah, kind of. So it's a little bit, more than a little on the nose there. But yeah, look. Again, my kind of not necessarily final thoughts, but you get what I'm saying on it.
Right.
Fantastic speech. I think that Biden did. Unusually a very good job in that speech. I think the Conservatives were crying and pissing and shitting and coming all at the one time because he called them out, and they know that they're MAGA Republicans. They knew that he was gonna fucking they felt it when he said that MAGA Republicans were the enemy of the state. If you feel personally attacked by that, that's on you, dog. That's not on me. That's not on Jeff. That's not on Biden. That's on you.
I think the other thing too is that there's I know you pay attention to U.S. politics probably a lot
today.
Americans do. But the idea that when Democratic politicians, especially ones that are holding power, say something forceful like that MAGA the MAGA wing of the Republican Party are extremists, right? Then the Democrats need to whoa, hey, let's what about being tolerant and what about playing nice and all this stuff? Like, look at what you let happen in your own party. Like, you guys are scared to run against this guy, and he's not a conservative. He's not a Republican. Trump isn't a Republican. He was willing to do political things, whatever it took to make him more popular or more liked or whatever, or keep power, is what he's willing to do. He's not a conservative, and he's not really a Republican. I mean, he used to be part of the Reform Party. He used to be part of the Democrat Party. I mean, he just used to be. I mean, he just goes he's a sleazy opportunist. And like the reaction, this has been around ever since I started getting interested in politics when I was a young teenager, and started noticing these kinds of traits. It's been happening ever since then, and they still do it to this day. Like, well, hey, let's calm down. Let's calm down. You need to go take care of your own house. You need to go take care of that blonde bimbo that is running your party ragged right now and wanted to overthrow the entire constitutional system of democracy. So that he didn't have to admit that he lost a fucking election. Like, one of the things you Republicans are supposed to be all about is upholding the Constitution, which means you concede defeat if you lose an election. That's sort of the whole point. And he wasn't willing to do it. And they're still wiping his ass and playing bagman for him. And then Kasich has the nuts to go in there like, hey, let's calm down the rhetoric, shall we? Like, you first, bitch.
Yeah.
You first.